everyone, I'm Amber. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be reviewing Pet Sematary Bloodlines. Um, and this is the prequel to Pet Sematary. And it was interesting. I haven't been able to get through the original Pet Sematary movie just because I have animals and it's a lot. But this one was easier to handle because it was humans. So basically, um there are certain people within this town that are supposed to guard this cemetery. It's an animal cemetery. I guess it hasn't been active in some time. Long ago, a human was buried there. They came back from the dead, and they're like not trying to have any of that happen again. And this cemetery is land that is cursed, basically, and that is why it brings back the dead to basically wreak havoc and kill those that are living. So basically, in the beginning of the movie, we see someone bury someone in the cemetery. And there's like a dog, and then the hand comes out, and we see that someone has come back from the dead. Later, we find out that this is, and I'm not very good with names, this guy's son who died, I assume in the war or after the war, of whatever. He was in the army or something of that nature, and he passed. And so basically, he wanted his son back, and he didn't feel it was fair losing his son. And he knew the secrets of the cemetery, buried him there, and was keeping him hidden in his house. But it was only a matter of time because these things kind of need to eat people, and they have the tendency to make more of them, as well, because again, they're wreaking havoc. So dad is not doing a good job of keeping this kid at bay, obviously. So then he ends up like escaping, and he ends up turning, I think, one or two people. But aside from that, that's like one side of the story. The main character of the story is a boy who was friends with this gentleman, the one that came back, when they were kids. I kind of wanted to see more of that. I just kind of saw flashbacks of that. But I feel like in the fact that I didn't really watch the first one or the remake, and I believe there was a second, I'm not even sure. And like that, the fact that like it was a decent movie and I didn't really like it all too much, I was just like not really bothered by it. I was like, okay, that would have benefited it, but okay. So basically, he is leaving town. He is leaving his mom and his dad in the town. His dad is one of the people that I guess like watched over the cemetery. And he never like passed that down to his son, that he's supposed to like pass it down and like explain things to him, but he's letting his son go off and live his life. And his son has a girlfriend, and they go on their merry way. And they have, I guess, seen the friend after he came back from the war, kind of spontaneously, and they're like, he's never been the same after the war, so all he has is his memories. Things are, different now. So yeah. And so then they go off, then they encounter the friend's dog, and he seems like there's something wrong with him. the thing was probably dead and buried and they brought back to life, or he ate the dog and returned it. I don't know what happened to the dog. Um, but basically, they go out to kind of see what's wrong with it. It starts leading them somewhere, and they go and they follow it. And then the dog ends up biting the girlfriend, and she has to be hospitalized. Um, and then they, I think a little bit before that or after that, I'm not sure, they encounter like the friend, and he's just out there like sitting down, and they're like talking to him, and they're like, hey. And I'm like, why is this it's a thing at this point, he's not human, and he can eat them, like, why is he just out there, like, just there? um I guess the dad assumes that he can like handle himself. I don't know. But he like broke like the oath and whatever, like, of the secrecy of the cemetery, and like made his son. So like this guy's just not doing well. And so then things obviously start happening. There's this two pair of siblings that were like, I guess, also friends, like, and they kind of grew up together. The sister babysitted, I guess, the soldier, and then the soldier, the friend, ends up turning her, and then she ends up going to visit the girlfriend in the hospital, wants to turn her. The girlfriend ends up like escaping, and essentially how they're turned is they're buried in the cemetery. um I guess it could be dead or alive, I don't know. But does she get away? No, she doesn't get away. She's taken to the cemetery, and she's buried, but like she's not like fully buried. And like the mud's like coming in and everything, and then the boyfriend like finds out about it through his father, and then obviously through like the dad, he's like, oh no, like he's escaped and blah blah this. And so then it's a rush against time to save the girlfriend, to kill this, you know the child, the friend, the guy's son. And the only way you can kill them is by like hitting them in the eyes, I guess with like a bullet or something. And so then they tell the history of how this has happened before, and this and that. And then they go, people die. uh at one point in the beginning too, like there's like a police officer who kind of gets mauled by, I think, the dog. I think that's the last we see of the dog. So she's there too. I don't know if she dies or not. But yeah, and then basically, the dad of the kid that was leaving, passes away, which is really sad because it's like, no, dad, no. And then I forget if the dad of the kid passes. Um, but yeah, he dies. And then at the end, basically, the kid decides not to leave. He moves into the house with his girlfriend. They decide to stay here and kind of keep the secret. And that's basically it. All these things are dead and everything, but it's like the dawn. So yeah, that's the movie. Um, and it started off very slow and then progressed very quickly. And there was just so much going on by the end that I was just like, what is going on? And then there was just a lot of confusing parts in the beginning, because I didn't watch the originals, but I knew enough, and B, like, I didn't know enough about the friend because of the flashbacks. So I was just kind of like, okay, I'll just continue watching this. I was gonna turn it off, but I was like, okay, I'll just continue watching this, and it ended up being decent, but not my favorite. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. I think I would prefer like the originals, just because, well, not from what I've seen of the originals, like I think there's just more action, and even though I watched it all the way through, I still would prefer what I've seen of the originals. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Thank you so much for watching. This was like supposed to be put out during the Halloween holiday season. But it wasn't. So it's a little delayed. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye! Also, the part with their skin falling off and like they touched on their like corpses was kind of creepy, but that was the best thing on the movie. All right, that's it. Bye.